From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
Big news across the land as millions of Americans receive their $1,400 third stimulus check in their bank account. Viewers received direct deposit of their $1,400 third stimulus check starting yesterday. More received them today. More received them this afternoon. But controversy brewing from the East Coast to the West Coast as several major big banks announce they're not releasing the funds. Who are they and what's going on? One bank has now set up an actual website to reveal something that's actually not particularly kosher. I'll show you why their statement is not particularly accurate with the way in which stimulus checks are going out. So is this confusion coming from banks or is it coming from viewers? The toast was toasting, but now the bacon is missing. As millions of Americans wonder, why is that stimulus check not in my bank account today? I'll have all the big details about direct deposits of your $1,400 stimulus check this weekend in the kickoff of Noontime LALATE, starting right now. It's a big morning with a lot of big breaking developments across the board, as stimulus checks are not landing as many would have thought they would have. What's going on? I have all the details right now. Wow, what a day it is. The $1,400 stimulus check started landing in millions of Americans' bank accounts on Friday. More are landing today. More will be landing later today as well. But how about your bank? One major bank issued a news statement, and that news statement trended online because it wasn't particularly really up to par. And then they set up a website, and that website has a series of FAQs, frequently asked questions and answers, and one of their answers is not particularly accurate. I have all the details for you hitting right now, but first hit that subscribe button as Noontime LALATE gets underway. It's a big day with big developments. I got 3 shows at least for you on Noontime LALATE. This show, and then 2 more coming up. I'll be going over the full stimulus package in the video after this, and then after that, 4 stimulus. But this video, I'm going to go through everything in your stimulus check receipt direct deposit that you've been asking for. Hit that subscribe and stay with me to the end because I have big surprise news at the end of this video as well. All right, let's get to the details. Minutes ago, a major bank, big bank, one of several that's been trending online all day long because of this March 17th date, set up a website. And on that website, they said the following. This bank will process all direct deposits according to the effective date provided by U.S. Treasury. Not particularly clear what that means. Then it says that viewers should use the IRS Get My Payment tool. That payment tool doesn't work. More about that in a second. But then it says this, the big bank. The U.S. Treasury has indicated that payments will be dispersed in multiple phases and could take several weeks to distribute. So not everyone will receive the same payments at the same time. That's absolutely untrue. Let me explain what's going on. There are several phases for stimulus checks to go out, but those phases are not several phases of the same type of delivery. There's a phase for electronic disbursements, direct deposits, which I'm talking about in this video, and then there's a path for paper checks and debit card payments. There's not multiple phases for direct deposits. The statement released by the bank makes users of the bank believe that direct deposits are sent out in different waves over different weeks. It's absolutely untrue. Moreover, the suggestion that there's an effective date for a stimulus check in the future for direct deposit is also untrue. So let me tell you what's going on. On Thursday, the White House signed into law your third stimulus check, $1,400 for individuals. And that day, the White House confirmed the stimulus checks will land this weekend. I immediately reported that the stimulus checks will start landing on Friday. I was the only one to report this, and I was correct. Yesterday, hundreds of viewers of this channel received electronic direct deposits of the stimulus check. This morning, more viewers got it. This afternoon, more got it. But along the way, we started to see something trend online. A March 17th date. A series of big banks have been telling users, viewers, and social media followers that they won't get their stimulus electronic deposit until March 17th. What is this mystery date? No one knows what it is. Is it because of a wave of stimulus check? It's not. Is it because there's an effective date of the stimulus check of March 17th? It is not. Bottom line is there's no apparent explanation for what this March 17th date signifies. This is what's going on. On Thursday, the IRS pushed out direct deposit stimulus checks. It's a single push that's electronic. Basically, the computer systems of IRS pushes out to individuals stimulus checks electronically. The push is a single operating process. They push the checks out. Then banks start to receive those pushes instantly. And between the night of that push, which is Thursday, and the next morning, they start to do what's called clearinghouse of those checks. Between Thursday night and Friday morning, they clear the checks. Now, every bank has its own policy of how long it clears a check. They may receive the push on Thursday, but decide to hold the check until 2 days, or 3 days, or 1 day, or the same day. Under second stimulus, I already knew, going into Thursday, I already knew what happened under second stimulus. In second stimulus, countless viewers got a push date, and then later that afternoon, that same date, they got the stimulus check. So that's why I was able to report to you on Thursday the same thing would happen again for viewers. The day of the push, some viewers would receive the stimulus check, and they did. About 100 plus viewers that I can find, at least, got the check the same day it was pushed out. But the vast majority of viewers don't bank that way. Their checks take a 24-hour turnaround time, where they clear that night, the night of Thursday. So on they were pushed on Friday so that they were clearing on Saturday morning. On Saturday morning, stimulus checks started to land in viewers' accounts as well. So some got them on Friday, some got them on Saturday. I think I misstated just a second ago that they got on Thursday. I meant to say they got on Friday. So some got them on Friday, but the vast majority cleared on Saturday. But then came this very strange twist. Viewers that bank at big banks started to see these messages on social media about March 17th. I'm not going to mention the name of the banks. But if you go on Twitter, you're seeing these banks trend. These banks are now saying, yes, there was a push, but we aren't releasing the funds. Not particularly clear why. This is what you need to know as you sit here this Saturday afternoon. The new developments of these big banks by releasing and setting up online portals, online message board, online press releases, online websites are not particularly accurate on how the stimulus checks are being pushed out. They were pushed out in one wave so that viewers could start receiving them on Friday. Ultimately, banks have access to the funds on Saturday morning. They may choose to hold them to Monday morning, but the March 17th date doesn't particularly make any sense whatsoever. That's item number one. Number two, the claim that there's multiple waves of an electronic disbursement of the stimulus check, also untrue. Finally, the claim that there is an effective date of the stimulus check in the future, also finally untrue. So what should you know? This is what you should know when you're looking at the stimulus check. The stimulus check, the receipt of it is dependent upon who you bank with. I think viewers understand what I detailed on Mornings LALATE earlier today, is that the big issue at hand is not so much your name, what state you're in, what benefits you have, or whether you're on SSI or SSDI. The issue is, who do you bank with? The question is ultimately, who do you bank with? And if your bank is doing this peculiar policy of March 17th, then that is what you have to deal with. Ultimately, let's cut back to the other items you need to know about the receipt of the stimulus check, when and where. First, the stimulus check will be $1,400 for an individual, $1,400 for a child, $14 for adult dependent, married couple, $2,800. The number of people in the household is already causing confusion. Why? Because the household was supposed to be at 4. We're seeing people get up to 6 checks in a household. Not particularly clear why. Congratulations if that's one of you. Second, if there's a missing check in the household, there is yet to be a process to fix that. Next, if you're an adult dependent, the check goes to the person whose tax return you appear on. So who is eligible for this electronic disbursement of checks this weekend? 3 groups. First, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security or Railroad benefits or veterans benefits, and receive your benefits every month electronically via a debit card or a bank account, this is you. Number 2, someone who received your second or first stimulus check electronically, this is you. Third group, the third group is the real questionable group. These are people who try to basically get a head start on the game and file a 2020 tax return early in February to update their bank account to be prepared for this very event this weekend. Does this particularly work? Thank you, King Reno, for the massive super chat. Does this eventually work? One situation, it doesn't. If your tax return you filed in 2020, if your tax return you filed early is still processing, it didn't work because IRS is still not seeing your tax return. Number 2, if IRS did process your 2020 tax return you filed in February, there's a chance that it may work. I've not yet seen from viewers, and with a lot of viewers and a lot of comments, I've not been able to read through all the comments. If anyone who filed their 2020 tax return in February and got it processed, got their stimulus check already electronically. We will learn more about that. In the video before today, noontime and on Mornings LA, I explained how it's important to understand that who you are is not a determining factor to whether you're getting a stimulus check this weekend. And yet, I still see people using that question in the comments. Here's an example. If you're in the comments, thank you, Joe, for the super chat. If you're in the comments dropping a question like, has anyone on SSI gotten their stimulus check? Or has anyone in Illinois gotten their stimulus check? Or has anyone with the last name that starts with the letter Z got their stimulus check? Or has anyone who has 4 kids gotten their stimulus check? These are questions you should not ask because ultimately IRS does not send out stimulus checks in different ways based upon those factors. Rather, the only question you should be asking is, has anyone from my bank of X Bank Financial received their stimulus check yet? And that is the way you will know if you're getting it. Ultimately, let me give you an example. Here's an example. An SSI recipient who banks with a big bank versus an SSI recipient who banks with Chime. We already know that Chime and Cash App started paying out recipients of their stimulus checks yesterday and today. But we also know that big banks have not paid out stimulus checks to recipients even through today. So here we see where it's not the SSI element that determines where you got the stimulus check, but is whether you had banked at the big banks that are not releasing the funds until the 17th of March versus the banks that have released it immediately. That is the determining factor. So if you're trying to gauge your situation, that is the type of question you want to ask your friends or people in the comments or something like that. Who banks with this bank has gotten their stimulus check? Who banks with this financial institution or credit union has gotten their stimulus check? That is the determining factor. Now, if you have not gotten your stimulus check, it's not lost. If you have not gotten your stimulus check, it is not grounds to start calling people on the phone. Wow. Thank you, King Rito, for your massive super chat. That is very nice. And thank you, Debbie. I saw the red coming across the screen. And thank you, George, for your super chat. It's a very busy day, and I have been missing some of the super chats. Thank you, Disco Duck, for your super chat as well. Do not do any of the following. One, call up your bank. Two, call up your Social Security beneficiaries. Thank you, Grandma Ducky, for your massive super chat. Got my check last night at 7:45. Well, congratulations, Grandma Ducky. She's one of my original viewers. Don't call up your bank. Don't call up Social Security. Don't call up IRS. These things don't advance the process. There's nothing they can physically do. Why? Because the check is an electronic transmission. It's a series of digital code from one bank to another bank. There's no human person. Thank you for the super chat, Sandra. Thank you. I appreciate it. When there's digital code going from one bank to another bank to send you $14, there's no one to call up and say, can you get that digital code to move faster? No, they can't do it. Needless to say, I've certainly started to receive the comments and certainly received the DMs. I called up complaining I haven't got to my check. Less caffeine, please. Less caffeine. Next, if you've gotten your stimulus check and there's a missing check, Casey, thank you for coming to Purple Hawk. Everyone welcome Casey to the family. If you have received your stimulus check and it's missing a household member, problem. You know it's a problem. Let's say there's a husband and wife with 2 kids and you got 3 stimulus checks. There's a problem. How do you fix it? At the moment, we don't have an answer for that. Presumably, the way to fix it is to file a 2020 tax return or amended 2020 tax return and request a missing stimulus check. But IRS has yet to give us that clarification. There is no I'm going to get to the tools of the IRS in a second, like the non-filer filing tool, the fix-it tool. I'm going to get to those in the second half of this recording, because there's a lot of information about that as well. But if you have received your household stimulus check and someone in the household is missing, there is no apparent way to fix it yet, with the exception of a amended return or a 2020 return requesting that missing stimulus check. More importantly, this is how you have to look at it. One stimulus check delivery occurs for the household. So a husband and wife with 2 kids, the check is sent as a single check to that head of household per the tax return. Something with my hands. I'm blowing out the camera. So if there is a head of household listed on the tax return as the husband, and then the other people on the tax return are the wife and the 2 kids, the check will go to the husband for the amount of 4 times $1,400. That is how it's done. Let's turn next to the IRS tools. There's a series of IRS tools out there, whether it is Track My IRS tool, which you heard in that statement from that bank, or the transcript tool, or the non-filer filing tool. Which of those work and which of those don't work? I'll have more about that in just a second with other big news. Stay with me as the second half of this recording continues in just 60 seconds after this commercial break. Right. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. and then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
And we're back. What I love about the viewers of this channel is they learn very quickly and they're very smart. And I saw during the commercial break, viewers immediately were doing what I asked them to do. Asking one another, who banks at this bank have you gotten your stimulus check? I adore you because now you realize that is the question to ask to determine, are you getting your direct deposit of a stimulus check this weekend? It's dependent upon which bank you bank at, not dependent upon the alphabetical last name of your state or your name or anything like that. If you're just joining me, this is Noontime LA, and $14 third stimulus checks were sent out by the U.S. government on Friday. Viewers started receiving them on Friday, and more of them received them today, and more will still receive them by the end of today. And you may also receive them on Monday. But in this recording, you're seeing the breaking developments of a news release issued by one of the major big banks that said, we don't have the stimulus checks for a series of reasons. I'm going to go over those words again because the words are actually incorrect. I'm going to clarify the situation for you, but first, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss a minute of this day's recordings. I'm back with you in just 20 minutes from now with the other items on the third stimulus package and when are you getting that money. That's a big show, don't miss that. And then after that is fourth stimulus with SSI and SSDI. Let's go over what's happening. Stimulus checks were sent out on Friday. It was a major push, and that if you do believe you are one of those people who should be receiving it electronically, then when would you receive it? Normally, everyone would receive it either Friday or Saturday. Most U.S. banks process electronic receipts overnight. They receive it on a Friday night, it's available on Saturday. The rare occurrence is that they show it as pending on Saturday and then they release it the next day. But at least they would show it as a pending transaction. But that's not what's happening with some major big banks. In fact, several major big banks have said, we will have your stimulus check for you on the 17th of March, a date no one knows where that date's coming from, and it doesn't make sense. Moreover, what they're saying the following statements today, none of which are true. One, they're saying that electronic disbursements of stimulus checks are going out in waves. Untrue. Number two, they say that electronic disbursements of stimulus checks have an effective date of the stimulus check, and it's not today, so we're not releasing it. Also untrue. What's happening is that they have chosen a particular date, and no one knows why that date. And there's a series of major big banks that have all used that same date in a series of press releases this afternoon. If you're on Twitter, you can go on Twitter. But the great thing that I see among viewers is that you've learned very quickly. The following things you've learned since this morning. That stimulus check receipts are not dependent, repeat, not dependent upon what state you're in, what letter your last name starts with, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're on SSI or SSDI, whether you use a commercial bank or a credit union, or whether or not you have a beautiful hairstyle or go to the casino. These are not factors. The only factor that determines whether you get the stimulus check today or not today is who you bank with. And so what I adore among viewers already is they're asking exactly the question they need to ask other viewers, which is, has anyone with Bank of Blue got to their stimulus check? Has anyone with Bank of Purple gotten their stimulus check? Because that is the only way to know if the stimulus checks are coming to your bank account. And there we are. Now let's turn to those IRS tools, which I promised to go over. One of the comments in the break of the commercial break, viewers said, the Check My Stimulus Check tool on irs.gov is now working. Congratulations, it's working today. And 30 minutes from now, it may not be working. Let me explain why it's important to understand this. First, the fact that it works is great, but if it does not work or it doesn't reveal any results, does not mean you're not getting a stimulus check. How do I say this in another way? People in the past have used the tracking tool as a determining factor whether they're getting a check or not. And if they see no information from it, they assume there's a mistake, they assume the check's missing, they assume there's a problem, they assume it's time to sound the alarms. Not the case. What I'm saying to you very simply is that sometimes it works, but most of the time it does not work. And if it shows no information, that does not mean it is time to sound the alarm. In a way, it's sort of like looking for something and then it says doesn't exist. Oh, it doesn't exist because it says it doesn't exist. No, it's not that reliable. Next, the non-filer filing tool. The non-filer filing tool is no longer an operative item. In 2020, if you use the non-filer filing and it worked, great. Do you have to use it again? You can't. It doesn't exist in its existence anymore. Do you have to be looking for it? No. The non-filer filing no longer operates in the way it worked in 2020, so you cannot use the non-filer filing for the purposes you may have thought about in 2020. Again, if you used it before and it worked, great. You don't have to use it again. And guess what? If you do want to use it again, it's not operating that way anymore. The way to fix things is by tax returns. The only way to fix things is by tax returns. And if you filed a tax return already, you're going to have to file an amended tax return. Then we go to the transcript IRS tool. The transcript IRS tool is sometimes called the secret or the bit or the trick or the whatever you want to call it. It's very well widely understood now, so it's not anything of novelty. If you have certainly tuned into this channel, you've heard it over many, many months. This is what it involves. You go to irs.gov, you sign in with a username and password. You then do a transcript, TRANSCIPTS, of your name. It'll then show most recent activity under your Social Security number. And if you see a line item that shows economic impact payment in the last few days, means congratulations, it's on its way. Now, here's where the tool, again, doesn't work. Sometimes it shows it was paid, and yet you don't have the payment. And then you freak out. And that happened last time a lot. So that's the first item. Second item is when you use it and you don't see anything in there. Then you also freak out. I would say the following. Generally, it's reliable when it has an entry in there, when it shows something. But that entry is not reliable for date purposes. How do I say it another way? If you see something in there in the last week, that is hugely great news. But the fact that it shows a date should not be a reason for you to freak out because the date is a week ago or a week and a half ago. Hopefully I made that clear to you. The entry is a great item, but the fact that you see a date in there is not a reason to freak out. And there we are. What a big day it is. Let me turn over to the chat because I've been seeing some great comments, and a lot of these great comments are helpful for you. So someone just said the IRS tool shows deposit on the 17th. So that's good. I mean, with that viewer, he actually sees an entry. So that is great news. And let me see what else. Someone else says 17th from a major bank. I'm not going to say the name of the bank. I'm on Social Security. Why does it say payment status not available? Because you can't track these payment statuses. Throughout 2020, I've made hundreds of videos about IRS tracking tools not being reliable. Now, if they provide some information, great, but they are 99% of the time unreliable, whether it is the lack of information or the date is not reliable. Does anyone in... someone asked about Chime. Chime viewers have reported receiving stimulus checks yesterday and also for Cash App. So Chime and Cash App are good. And let me grab myself, put myself back on screen here. This is something I want to go over. In the case of Chime, it's actually the funds. Second stimulus and first stimulus, Chime got a lot of publicity because what they did was they released you a $14 stimulus check as an advance before you got the funds. This time, the information suggests that they're not doing that. It's actually the funds. So it's different than what happened in 2020. It's actually the money. But that is a very good question. Thank you for that great question. And let's see what else someone said. I'm getting my stimulus check on the 17th. So a lot of people are hearing that date. Should I be worried if the My Payment tool said payment not available? No. Let me go back to camera. In the universe of reliability, how reliable is the Get My Payment tool? In a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really reliable and 1 not reliable, it's about a -2. And I just don't know how many times to say it. It is really unreliable. As the transcript instrument, on a scale of 1 to 10, how reliable it is, maybe a 4 or 5. They're generally just not reliable instruments. But it's better than nothing. And needless to say, you should not be freaking out about what it says to you. There you go. My bank was doing maintenance last night. What great timing for that bank. Oh my goodness. I checked with the non-filer filing tool and it said it would be deposited. That's not called the non-filer filing tool. That is the check my deposit. That's the check my stimulus tool. Thank you, King Reno, for the super chat, and welcome Geneva to the family. Geneva, welcome to becoming a Purple Power member. So much exciting stuff across the board. Let's see who else is in the room. There is Patricia and Disco Duck and Jacob and Claire and Gail and Debbie and Danielle and Joey. And there is Brown Eyed Jackson and Kim. A lot of people are getting that March 17th date on their stimulus check across the board. Wow, what a big day it is as we surf into the continuation of Noontime LALATE. Right after this, I'm back with you on the other items in the third stimulus package. One of the viewers just dropped in the comments, when is EIDL going live? When am I getting that child care tax credit? When am I getting that $5,000? When am I getting that $4,000? When am I getting rent? When am I getting that hazard pay? I have all that big exciting news coming up right after this. Don't miss it. It's a big recording. First, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and also a big surprise for you as well. As revealed on Mornings LALATE, this channel rolled out this live format about a week and a half ago. In that time, it takes a little bit of time to learn of all of its functionality. No channel has the level of technology that this channel now has. This is a full-fledged broadcasting studio. And along the way, it's taken me a little time to learn some of the functions. And among the functions are the ability to deliver you taped programming as well. So, per your requests, in due time, I am bringing back part and parcel here and there, early mornings LALATE and evenings LALATE as tape shows to this channel. So with that, make sure you hit the subscribe, like this video. Thank you, Joe Vigil, for becoming a new member, and stay with LALATE for more.